Happy Thursday, ladies and gents. Glad to see you here. You're watching Living with Us. And today's show, we are getting into alopecia, which is an autoimmune disease. But we'll get into what that is in a bit. For now, I want to tell you what you're going to expect, which is that the two ladies who are on the couch today are going to share their story, and their story is one of reclaiming their power. Now, a quick fact for you. According to National Alopecia Areata Foundation, based in California, people of all ages, both sexes, and all ethnic groups can develop alopecia areata. Now, what is that? Very quickly, although there will be an expert, a hair specialist sharing in a minute, what it is basically your immune system forgets that your hair follicles are actually good guys, and so it starts to attack them, which leads to hair loss. And now I guess let's jump into who our guests are. We've got Veronica Acheng and Carol Nkinda sitting across from me today, and you two ladies were diagnosed with this disease earlier on, right? But I see that you wear this with pride, and hair loss, it doesn't define you, which I love. But for now, I just want to jump into a quick snippet of what this disease actually is from a hair specialist. Take a look.
Alopecia basically means hair loss in Latin. There are different kinds of alopecia. We have alopecia areata, we have alopecia barbae, we have telogen effluvium, we have androgenetic alopecia, just to mention a few. Telogen effluvium is a condition that is brought about by just generalized stress. Somebody may lose a loved one, or they lose a job, or things are not working out for them, and because of the stress in the body, then they start getting hair loss. Also, there is a condition known as alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is a condition where the hair is lost in patches. It actually looks like mashilingi or ringworms, but it is not ringworms. It is alopecia areata.
Okay, so there you have it. That's what alopecia is. Now, ladies, let's start with you, Veronica. Can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with your hair growing up?
As a child, I used to keep on short hair. Okay. Not this bald, but short.
Okay, was that your decision?
Yeah.
Ah.
And then I grew up with that, though partly my mom also contributed to that. Okay. And then going to school, and then high school, of course, I had to keep short hair.
Okay.
After joining campus, I decided to have one look, just short hair, shading this side, and then having my hair at the top. Yeah. I accepted that look and said, this will be me for the rest of my life.
I love that.
People in school.
When you say short hair, I'm now curious to know, how short do you mean?
It wasn't a bit, somewhere here.
Okay. And what about you?
I grew up with very long hair, very long curly hair, and that was the rest of my days, primary school, high school, university, everything. Yeah. Until in 2015, that's when I developed patches, which is alopecia areata. Yeah. But it wasn't diagnosed till 2016. Okay. I stayed like that for a very long while without knowing what's happening to my body. Yeah. As a child and through adulthood, I had a lot of problems, eczema, a lot of autoimmune related conditions that I didn't know about. Okay. I wasn't aware of, so I got treated for that. Yeah. So my hair loss was a bit of a surprise because I didn't get the connection. Right. Yeah.
And for you, at which point did you then, what year specifically were you diagnosed with alopecia?
At 23.
At 23.
Yeah.
And did you at the time understand what was going on, or did you think it
really
was just your body? I don't know.
At first, it started off with a small patch. Okay. Noticed by a friend. We actually thought it was a fungal infection. Okay. So I had to take medicine, treating something I wasn't suffering from. And then early this year, I visited a dermatologist, and that's when I knew that I had alopecia.
Yeah. Okay. And you, Carol, what was the first moment where you realized that you were actually suffering from hair loss?
I noticed as well a little patch, which I didn't relate to hair loss. I thought maybe at that point I had dreadlocks. I thought they were thinning, which is normal for dreadlocks.
Oh, so you had dreadlocks. So you were quite experimental with your hair.
Yes. So I thought the dreadlocks were thinning, which is natural.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that I was going to go bald. So I never sought any sort of treatment.
Okay.
Until when I developed a related condition to autoimmune, I had skin soles. So when I got that, then I was forced to go and see a doctor. All the while I was getting treated for eczema, for contact dermatitis, you know, all sorts of things, but not for alopecia.
Okay.
That's when I was told that this is alopecia.
Okay.
But after a long while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did it show up for you? So first you noticed the patch.
A little patch.
And then did it spread very quickly, or did you have time?
No, it was very fast. You know, one patch, you know, this month, the next month another patch, then they start joining. Then the whole.
And when you say patch, it's completely bald.
Yes, smooth. A smooth patch in the middle of your head.
Okay.
You know, like what you can see, a smooth patch. So they developed all around. So then it makes it really ridiculous to have a hair patch like that. So you make a decision what you want, to walk with it like that or to take it off.
Okay. Was it the same for you as well?
Yeah.
So in how many months, what was that time period?
It started in August last year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I took fungal medications for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Again, put on some medicine. I even tried traditional herbs, which didn't work out. And it took me time to decide to shave it all.
Yeah.
I was always putting on capes.
Right.
Yeah, just to cover the patches.
I hear you. And I feel, you know, it must have been also a bit of a disconnect for you because you've had, you know, decades of this relationship with your hair, and then only a couple of months to reconcile with what's now happening. And I'm curious to know, was it just only on your head that you were losing hair, or was it also like your eyebrows? I mean, I can see.
With alopecia areata, it's only on the head.
Okay.
Alopecia has different stages. So once you have alopecia areata, that is just on the head. When it gets to areata, you're okay, it's just the head. Alopecia totalis is the head and other places. And then you have universalis, which is total loss of hair in every part of your body. Presently, I think graduating to the next stage because I'm losing my noso hair.
Okay. And can you tell me how it made you feel when you first decided that maybe it's time to shave? Can you talk me through that, Carol?
That was the toughest decision. You know, it was nights and nights of tears, and you know, not sure is that the right move, because you know the society defines how you need to look, and then coming from long hair, coming from dreads into no hair, you have to really come to terms with yourself and agree that this is the look I want, irrespective of what the society feels about it. And I think what really helped me was support of my family. My parents and my immediate family, everybody was there and encouraging me, because I was ailing other things, so hair was not the biggest thing. So for me, I had to look it as it wasn't a big thing at the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you end up doing it? Did you do it yourself? Because I know you also own a salon on the side. It's not your 9 to 5, but it's.
I did it at home. I didn't take myself to the salon because you know, embarrassment, and you know, you don't want to be there, everybody looking at you and wondering what's getting into your mind. So my husband shaved it, so I had a mohawk for a few weeks. Yes. So I didn't take it off immediately. I had to do it gradually. So I had a mohawk for a couple of months. Then I had support from my sisters who also shaved their dreadlocks, so that we can. So,
bless those ladies.
They didn't take it off completely, but cut it short. One of my sisters cut it off completely. So there was a lot of support. So I hung on the mohawk for a while because I was still in denial. And then the mohawk couldn't work because the top was also falling off. So I had to shave. But then during the transition, I still felt like keeping my hair. So I would have hairs on the side and no hair in the middle, and wear a wig, which was a bit funny. So
and what about you, Veronica? Do you remember the moment that or the day that you decided to shave, and what kind of feelings did you have?
The first time I shaved, I was convinced by my sisters who at first thought it was a fungal infection, and they were like, Veronica, if you go shave, maybe you will heal.
Okay, so you went completely bald?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first time. So I went bald, thinking that maybe it would heal. I waited.
Yeah.
I waited for quite some time to get back my hair. And then when it grew up, another patch started.
Okay, so there was a moment where it does grow back, but then it comes back as bald spots, patches. Okay.
Because I had a patch here, and then it grew back. So I thought maybe it could grow back. I could have my hair back. And then another one started. Before even this one grew back, another one started at my back. So I just came to believe that this will be my look forever, and I had to accept it.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you find that perhaps it was a little bit easier for you because you already had short hair, or was it still a huge change?
It was a huge change.
It was a huge change.
Because walking around bald head, the first time I shaved, I scared everyone, and they were like, oh my God. I mean, is this really you? I mean, you look, I mean, I even scared my little niece. She cried.
Why?
When I got home, because I'd gone to the barber to shave. And then when I came back, now I had to remove my cape. She didn't even want me to carry her. I felt so bad. I cried.
Oh, bless Veronica. Oh, man. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'll be asking the ladies exactly what they did to seek out treatment. We'll be back very shortly. Welcome back. We've been talking to our guests Veronica and Carol, who just shared their journey on being diagnosed with alopecia and suffering from hair loss. And what I want you to see right now very quickly is a hair specialist explaining what exactly are the treatments available if you are diagnosed with alopecia. So take a look.
Depending on the kind of alopecia, sometimes we may need to run some blood tests, but treatment options include supplements, creams, applications, PRP therapy, needling into the scalp, injections into the scalp, and finally hair transplant in some cases. There are different kinds of alopecia. Some of them are curable and treatable. In some cases it may be hard to treat, and the only option available may be a hair transplant. But before running to do a hair transplant, one should do all the tests and try other treatments before going for a surgical operation.
Okay, so there you have it. Now, ladies, before you actually were diagnosed, what were some of the treatment options that you sought, whether it's in your home mixing things or hearing what your friends had to say? I know you've explained some of the things that happened to you, so maybe we could start with you, Veronica. What are some of the things that you tried?
I first of all tried the traditional medicine. Okay. I had to take and apply some.
Yeah.
And then also
wait, where did you get the traditional medicine?
I bought from one of the specialists, the herbal specialist.
Okay, yeah. But you still didn't know what it was?
I wasn't sure
okay, fine.
If it was alopecia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did you try?
I tried turmeric, I tried garlic.
Those are really potent, powerful spices though. And in many occasions they do help, but I guess in this case, nothing worked. Nothing worked. Yeah. And what about you, Carol?
There was all suggestions that I didn't try. You know, like try onion juice, try guava juice. I didn't try that because I wasn't feeling very up to it, because the doctor didn't tell me that I had alopecia in the beginning. So I wasn't going to try those medications, especially because I was also suffering from other things like eczema. I didn't know how it would react, so I never tried that. So I went on topical creams that were prescribed by the doctor, but they didn't work. So then I was put on steroids, like to set off the system, to like restart the system. But that as well didn't work. So when I was finally diagnosed with the autoimmune condition, then I knew that there's no cure.
So is there are there no treatment options?
No, there's no cure for alopecia.
How did you come to terms with that when you heard that this was something that couldn't be cured? What was your
it was to accept that there's no cure, accept that you can have a regrowth and probably not, because sometimes you can have a regrowth that can last for a period of time and then it falls off again. So at this point I don't even want the regrowth because you know, it's force. So it comes on and probably after 2 years, after a year, month, it falls off again. So it's accepting that this is the way it is and doing whatever it takes to be healthy and be happy about it.
And what was that journey to acceptance like? Because I'm sure it wasn't, you know,
wake up
there and it's like, oh, I love who I am today. And especially with society and the preconceived notions of what femininity is, womanhood is, and how then you should wear your hair. So what was that journey like for you?
It was a very long journey, you know, a lot of denial. I was in denial for almost a year. So I tried to wear wigs and it was very uncomfortable. I tried to weave and, you know, cover up the bald, cover up the patches, which wasn't also comfortable because previously I'd never weaved or, you know, put wigs on my hair. I was always natural, either my natural hair or my dreadlocks. So for me it was very uncomfortable to try all these things, you know, try wigs, try weaves. So the denial process was the most painful because then I'm listening to people, I'm getting ideas, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. There's also the bit of blaming yourself. What should I have done? You know, when I discovered the first patch, should I have run to, you know, better treatment? Should I have considered transplant, which is very expensive at the same time? So there was the process of not knowing, is it me? Is this the kind of look I want, or do I try other options? I tried India as well, because people say doctors in India
so
can
you went to India.
I didn't do that. Yeah. I did an online consultation.
Okay.
And the doctor said, even if you come to us, we will plant the hair, yes, but it might fall off. So do you want to spend that money for that?
Yeah.
And yeah, the process was tough.
Right.
It was the most difficult
I
one.
hear you.
And you know, going to the office, you're not sure how you look. You have to meet clients, and there's the perception of the society. You don't look good. You don't look good the way you are.
Society can be quite harsh.
Yeah.
And what about you, Veronica? Because you were also quite young, and earlier you even shared about the story of your niece seeing you for the first time and just bursting into tears, which led you to burst into tears. So how did you learn to love and accept who you are?
Friends, support from friends, family, I mean, people just around me, and then myself. It took me time, yes, because I spend nights crying when I'm alone, and you're like, after going through articles, reading and watching videos on alopecia, and then I came to realize that I'll have to stay with this, I mean, for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do is not to kill myself with it.
Yeah.
Accept it and slay in bald, you know.
Slay in bald. I love that. I love that.
And then,
okay.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So
did you face any kind of stigma? You mentioned that you would get stares, but were there any kind of ignorant comments or rude remarks?
Loads of them.
Can you tell me what?
Loads of them.
that
You
was like?
pass, people, and they would whisper, loud enough for you to hear that you're recovering from cancer, or you probably have some disease that's that people can get infected, so they should keep off you.
Oh gosh.
There's been lots of comments that are that brings you low. Your self-esteem is really crushed, and people will talk of your, apart from disease, some people would comment, why would you want to be bald? Are you a man?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like I passed a crowd and they said she thinks she looks really nice trying to imitate men, and all sorts of comments.
Such ignorant
yes, because they don't know what it is. They don't care to ask, so they make some comments that really can offend you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you shut that out? So that did you confront them, or do you just keep them moving?
Not until recently. I wasn't able to confront anybody. I would shy off and probably go home and think the next day I'm walking, I need to wear a wig.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, but in the last year I had an article. I came out in the open and said this is what I'm ailing from, and that was the point, my turning point. I decided I'll talk about it. If I see you staring, then I'll stop and allow you to stare enough, and then I'll tell you what it is about.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you, Veronica? How did you face that? The kind of the noises, the whispers, the rude remarks?
I wouldn't say it was easy, because it wasn't. The first time the patch started, people were laughing at me like, ona kona shilingi, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going through. So if you guys keep shouting, kona shilingi, and also don't know, because I've even tried treating it, the shilingi you guys are saying, but it's not working. I'm confused myself.
Yeah.
So the loud mamas, you yourself, I mean, I was really frustrated.
Did you find that there were certain lifestyle choices that you made, whether it's what you eat or maybe even making sure that you're not surrounded by stress, that impacted the rate at which the balding took place, the hair loss?
I think too much stress. I could realize with a lot of stress, the bald could grow, like could increase very fast. So after reading out that if you need to survive in this, you have to reduce stress, you need to stop thinking a lot. I had no choice but to start accepting it, be happy, and stop thinking too much about it.
To just accept back and release yourself of the stress. And you, did you do anything?
I can't really point at what could have triggered it, but obviously there are things related to stress. There's also the diet, but because I had eczema as well, I still have eczema, I would relate to certain diets that trigger and make it really worse.
Yeah.
So yes, diet is a cause of the problem, but then I can't touch it. I don't know which particular one triggers it.
Okay.
And by the time I realized all these things actually would trigger hair loss, it was already done. Yeah.
And is it different for every person when it comes to diet? Like, could it be the same thing that affects you is not the same thing that affects
Yes, that's right.
person?
Yeah, it's person to person.
Okay, fine.
What you can be allergic to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so so physically there was quite a huge transformation, and a need to accept who you are.
Yes.
But I'm sure that this was also a tough journey for you mentally and spiritually as well. So were there certain things that you did to make sure that you guarded your mental and spiritual health?
Yes.
Yeah. We can start with you, Carol.
Yes. Well, the Bible lied to us by saying that the hair is what crowns a woman. So when you think about that, and you know, it started from the very beginning, that means people had hair loss even in the beginning. So I kept comforting myself, saying it must have started from the beginning. It's not something new. Someone has had it before. I'm not the first person. And there's people that have lived with it for very many years, and they've come to accept that it's there. So the fact that my local community does not understand it's there, I shouldn't also behave like I don't know it's there. Yes, so that has been like a pointer to me that you should accept and let others know that it's there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so to use your space and your journey to educate others.
Yes.
And to make sure that they also feel that they're not alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So during the process, I started blogging, you know, writing every day what I'm going through.
That must have been very therapeutic.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was that was very healing.
Yeah.
So I would wake up and write the whole process, what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, what I need to do every day. For example, you can't leave the house without sunscreen. You can't live without a hat in your handbag or a scarf because you will burn.
Oh,
and you will
those are some
burn
good
in
tips.
summer, you will burn in winter. So those are some of the things that I came to learn,
Okay.
and so started writing about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Veronica, how are some of the ways that you made sure you were still okay mentally and spiritually too?
I decided to take my challenge and use it as an inspiration. So as a model,
Okay. Veronica is a model, by the way. After this, she was telling me I have a shoot afterwards. But go on,
so I had to take another brand from the short hair, the Lupita look, and then to bald. So I was like, huh, this is going to be my new brand.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sell myself with this no matter what.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yes, I have to put on a cape.
Yeah.
If you go maybe to church, you know, you have to remove it. So I always make sure if I have to go to church, I must be bald, because I can't get in church with a cape.
Yeah.
And if I haven't shaved, the patches are visible. You
Okay,
get?
okay.
So
Yeah.
everyone will see them and they'll be like,
I hear you. But I like that you owned it and that you're like, yeah, this is gonna be my signature look. Yeah, in my modeling career. Now, what are some of the things that you learned? Right now, you just mentioned that you need to wear sunscreen. So, what are some of the things that you've learned about alopecia that you'd like to educate others about?
You have to have sunscreen. You need to have a proper shaving tools, because if you have patches, if your level is the patches, you need to shave like every second day. So you either choose to go to a barber or do it yourself.
Okay, let me see if I understand. So there are moments where hair might grow back, or does it continuously start to grow in some bits?
Now, when you have a patchy hair, which is alopecia areata, it's patchy.
Okay.
It means certain places you have hair.
But I'm specifically asking, when you do then go, when the bald spots come, how often does the hair growth start? Is it immediate, or is it something that you could go a few months where you're completely bald, or is there always some form of hair growth?
On the patches, there's no hair.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So on the other parts, then there's hair,
hair.
and it's growing like normal,
I
you know,
see.
like
I
normal
hear you.
hair. So you have, if your pattern of hair grows really fast, like mine do, then it means every second day you need to clean up.
I see.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
that's a good tip.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So you have to have proper tools to do that, else you get yourself infected if you have to keep going to certain places.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What has alopecia taught you about beauty, Veronica?
beauty isn't defined by hair. be bald, be bold, and just be you.
Yeah, be bald, be bold, be you.
Yes.
And you?
Similarly, I know for her it must be tougher because she's younger, and you know there's expectations of young people now. You need to look. I'm older, so there are certain things that don't make a big deal anymore. So I have children that I must show that this is a good look. That beauty is not just in the hair, just in the event they also lose their hair. So I have come to accept it and realize that you can be bald and beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Bald and beautiful, not old and beautiful, bald and beautiful.
So we have a forum that we call Bald, Bold and Beautiful.
Oh, I love that. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll dive deeper into their journey into acceptance. We'll be back shortly. been talking to Carol Nkinda and Veronica Cheng about being diagnosed with alopecia and how they've learned to reclaim their beauty with or without hair. Now, my first question to you is, did you feel that being bald communicated power? Because hair can be highly communicative. It can communicate status, power, sexuality. So for you, did you feel that it communicated power, or do you feel it now?
In the beginning, not. It wasn't communicating anything. It was a negative. But right now, I think it does, because it shows that you've come off a long way for you to actually decide to be bald.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that must be a big part of this, because whenever I see a woman with short hair, because traditionally and society has sort of carved out these roles or ways that people can present their gender, which is men have short hair, women have long hair. So whenever I see a woman with short hair, to me, it communicates I have shed myself of whatever notions that you have about me, and I'm standing tall as a woman. So automatically I'm like, ooh, don't mess with that one. Like, that woman knows herself and has claimed her power. Did you feel like that now, Veronica?
At first, of course, as Carol said, it wasn't easy. But after some time, I realized that bald automatically comes with bald. I mean, gives you some confidence.
Okay. How has the relationship with yourself changed through this journey?
I've learned to be so close and tight with myself. Notice every change that occurs with my body.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Because initially I wasn't paying attention. Like, you see, I also assumed that it was a fungal infection that I had. And if I had visited a dermatologist before, I'd have known that I have alopecia. So I've learned to be so close to myself. Anything little, I just
you notice it. You know your body in and out. And you?
Diet, I've learned to really be careful what I take, because I know there are triggers that can cause it even to run more, you know, progress to even totales and universaries. So I'm really watchful of the diet, and because while I was under treatment, I'd really put on a lot of weight because of steroids. So I am trying to manage diet very keenly and listening to the body, seeing what really works for me, and knowing that this is a work that it's individual. It's a personal work.
Before the break, you were saying that you are part of a society, a community. Bald, bold, and beautiful. Can you tell me about that?
We have a support group that all alopecians join. It's a small group that was started not too long ago. It's called Bald, Bold, and Beautiful. We chat a lot, encourage each other, cry together, laugh together, and once in a while we meet, and those that are not able to open up about it open up when we are just together. They remove their wigs, and we laugh about it, we cry about it. And so we have that kind of forum.
Is it only women?
No.
But no, we have men as well.
That's lovely. And what's the age range in the group?
The group right now, she's the youngest.
Oh, look at that.
So we have her as the youngest, and we have myself as the oldest.
Nice. Now, with the way that the society is constructed, and we were saying how usually hair is associated with femininity, how has this changed the way that you move through the society, the way you interact, the way you, whether it's even on social media or just walk in the streets, or even relate with your relatives too? Maybe that's also an interesting point. But how has it changed the way you interact with society?
First is realizing that this is yourself. This is you. And it doesn't matter what the rest of the community feels about it if you've accepted yourself. So it's educating people. This is the kind of relation I've developed personally. It's anytime I'm in a community where I feel that people are watching or looking at me in a strange way, I will air it out. I will talk about it. And I will mention that it's not cancer, it's not what you're suspecting, you know, it's not witchcraft, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you, Veronica?
Okay. In the society, when you shave, people think you're maybe a widow, you have cancer or something else. But the moment I took it to myself, I knew that this was my journey, and I had to walk it my own way, no matter what people think about. Yes, sometimes when you have a family gathering, I have to explain to those who don't know what I'm going through it. I have, of course, to explain, even at school. Though art has taught me to be confident, and I can explain what I go through.
Okay. When you stand in front of the mirror, who do you see?
I see a beautiful, strong, brave, and a bold woman.
Beautiful. And you?
I see Carol. I see the real me.
Yeah.
Because without hair, there's what's inside. So I see the real inside, the beautiful person inside. Yes. Yeah.
Going back to a little bit earlier in your journey, you were diagnosed in 2015, and you just last year is when it started happening. How would you then speak to that reflection in the mirror? What would you be telling yourself, or how would you try and build yourself out of that, you know, the self-doubt and the insecurities that you've just been sharing, that you were shrouded with at the beginning? How did you talk yourself out of that?
I always say that you've come a long way, and you can only be better. And not just for yourself, but for the other person that is going through the same stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you, Veronica?
I've seen bald women. Wakanda still preaching the gospel.
I love that. And that's an important point, actually, that you also get to see yourself on the big screen, on television, because that's also where a lot of disconnect takes place, because you only see one definition of beauty, of strength, of success. But when you see different variations of it, in Black Panther,
exactly,
makes you think, okay, now y'all better take a seat because we're here to stay. I love that. Okay.
So sometimes when I don't feel like shaving, I'd go through some pictures. I look at Christine Wawira's. I'm a big fan of her. There's a time I wasn't feeling like shaving because I was so attached to my hair still. And I was like, should I shave it or not? And then I went to Christine Wawira's page. And I saw the way she was popping.
Who's Christine Wawira?
She's a famous actress. She's a Kenyan but lives in the US.
Nice. Okay. Now, what message would you like to pass on to those who stigmatize alopecia or even just baldness?
I would like everybody to know that it can happen to anybody, even little children, adults, male and female. And so when you stigmatize other people, you don't know what's coming for you. So you need to be sensitive, and if you have to know, please ask. Yes. Most of us are so willing to talk about it. So when you ask, we will give the information.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you, Veronica?
We are not widowers. Alopecia is not cancer, please. So when you see us, rather you come ask instead of throwing words
and being ignorant about it.
Exactly.
Okay. And what about what would you say to fellow alopecians, people who might be watching now, maybe recognizing a few of the symptoms that you've shared, and are thinking, this just might be my journey? So what would you tell them?
When you notice a patch, please seek medical care. Just find out what it is, because it could be alopecia, it could be anything else. Once you're diagnosed, try and start accepting yourself, because the journey is long. Yes.
I love that. One last thing, where can people find the community, the Bald, Bold, and Beautiful. How can they join or be a part of it?
Right now we're having an event on 15th of September because this is Alopecia Awareness Month. So we set up an event to educate, sit up with people and, you know, tell them about alopecia. The event will be at Power 254 on the 15th from 2 to 4 p.m. You can reach us on hashtag Strength of an Alopecian.
Oh, that's a good one. So anywhere on social media, hashtag Strength of an Alopecian. You're good to go. Thank you, ladies. What I see sitting across from me is such a strong sense of awareness of self and power and ownership, which I believe there's still a lot of us who are struggling with that and are hiding behind even something like the hair. I'm, disclaimer, wearing a wig right now. What lies underneath this is not that great. But, you know, we try and mask what we're going through by creating this font. And you've owned your diagnosis and your journey, which I respect completely.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for sharing your story. Now I'm going to throw it back real quick. Now its name comes from a Maasai phrase, Nkare Nairobi, which translates to cool waters. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, I'm referring to Nairobi. It's a Thursday, and so we get to throw it all the way back to how Nairobi was during the 60s and the 80s. Interesting, right? Okay, thank you, ladies and gents, for joining us for the past hour and hearing the story of power and reclaiming your body. Gonna love you and leave you, but I'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. Bye.